For more on the conflict overseas, we are joined live by national security expert and retired Air Force Special Operations Commander Glenn Ignazio. It's good to have you today. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Good to be with you.
So let's start with Hezbollah. We've seen that group stepping up its attacks since the killing of that prominent Hamas leader, which I just mentioned. What's your take on that and the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hezbollah now?
Yeah, so Hezbollah was reacting to that particular strike, and what they did was launched about 60 missiles into Israel. And what basically Israel did was see what those particular sites were taken out in a defensive posture and then eliminated those sites. Hezbollah was trying to take out their early warning. This is one of the things that they have to be concerned about because Hezbollah has been increasing its efforts. And again, this is another faction that's an Iranian-backed organization.
And it is starting, I could be wrong here, it's starting to look like it's becoming a wider conflict at least. Is that what you're seeing? And do you anticipate it becoming an even more of a wider conflict?
Yeah, in all honesty, it has expanded significantly. It has spilled over where we see the attacks against, U.S. forces in Syria and in northern Iraq with many injured. And then the Houthis in Yemen, another Iranian-backed faction that has basically put 90% plus of the shipping around the Horn of Africa and not through the Red Sea anymore. So it really has spilled over in certain levels. It depends on, the basis of, is it full-scale war? No. But are there significant attacks and terrorist strikes hurting people and killing people? Yes.
And up until now, the U.S. has been praised by many experts as being the reason there hasn't been a more regional fight involving Lebanon and other surrounding countries. Obviously, we're seeing Antony Blinken in the Middle East for the fourth time in 3 months. Do you think that's his focus this time around as well?
Yeah, I think the focus is to make sure that Iran does not expand its operations to get more intense. In fact, they're actually sending a destroyer, Iranian destroyer, towards the Red Sea. So it's to keep them in check to make sure that it does not spill over into a state versus state conflict. In addition, a lot of pressure as far as the humanitarian effort in Gaza to make sure that that is alleviated, yet be able to give Israel the ability to strike against Hamas. So it is really balancing many facets here in a very delicate way to keep the Middle East in check.
Okay, so you mentioned that humanitarian crisis, so I'll pick up there because there was a lot of talk of trying to spare those who were caught in the crossfire in Gaza. Do you think Israel is still being pressured by the U.S. as much to focus on that side of things now, even compared to where we were just a month ago, where it seemed like that discussion was being brought up more by the U.S.?
Yeah, I believe that's definitely the case. I mean, you have Hamas, who's a terrorist organization, so you want them eliminated, and that's the support for Israel. But at the same time, any kind of suffering to any civilians, anybody in the military, myself, and the government definitely doesn't want to happen. That's the biggest international pressure against Israel. So anything that's going to continue the aid, continue those supplies to get in, and anything that's going to leave that suffering of the civilians, I think that's definitely a plus. And that's something that Israel has to watch, and the collateral damage and the strikes that they have been doing, rather intensive, in fact.
Yeah, it looks like it, especially recently on those refugee camps. Just before I let you go, what are you going to be watching for in the next couple of weeks when it comes to this conflict?
Yeah, definitely. So the North is turning into a different phase. A lot of the hard strikes, they're talking about doing more raids with special operations in those tunnels. So you're probably going to see that happen in the North. I'd love to see more aid getting in and the support that way. But there's really going to be more intense focus tactically on Hamas and the particular sites and leaders accordingly.
Okay, sir, I really do appreciate you coming on today. Thanks for taking the time.
Absolutely. Nice to see you.
That is national security expert Glenn Ignazio.